Good morning. It's great to see everybody today. We've been talking about the Noble Eightfold Path, and today we are on right concentration, which is the last one we'll be talking about, but this won't be the last time we're talking about it. Because it's a really big topic. So I wanted to talk today about right concentration. I feel so full of wonder and care in talking about right concentration. Another way of speaking of concentration is Samadhi. And we speak of the jewel of Samadhi. And Samadhi really is a jewel. And it's a jewel that we both care for very carefully and also can become enamored by as something special or something outside of ourselves. So both of these are sides of this precious jewel of Samadhi. And I guess the thing I really most want us to understand is that concentration is essential for our practice. It's absolutely essential, and I can't stress this strongly enough. I think sometimes we have an idea when we're practicing, and maybe it's not a cognitive idea, but an idea that comes in as we practice, that this is what it's all about. And it's not. The whole of the path is what it's all about. So I want to take some time to really unpack right concentration today and unpack it with a sense of care and tenderness as one of the Noble Eightfold Path. So today I thought I would start with, let me first remind you of the Noble Eightfold Path. So remember, we've been talking about them for a while. We started with right speech, and then we talked about right action and right livelihood. And then we went from the ethics section into the wisdom section. We talked about right view and right intention. And then we moved into the concentration section. And we started speaking about right effort, and then right mindfulness. And then today we'll be talking about right concentration. So the Noble Eightfold Path, as you may recall, every aspect of the Eightfold Path is dependent on all of the other aspects. And the entirety of the path is really dependent on our vows. Why are we doing this practice? What are we here for? And if we don't have that, or our intentions, we don't have that at the forefront, the three treasures, refuge in the Buddha, refuge in the Dharma, refuge in the Sangha, along with the understanding that we do this practice for the benefit of all beings, not for our own benefit. We do this practice for the benefit of all beings. This is what makes us Buddhists. And this is what keeps us from self-cherishing. So whatever we do, we're doing it for the benefit of all beings. This is especially essential in talking about right concentration or Samadhi. So today I wanted to start with a koan that I love. It's case 19, and it's from the Mumon Kong. Case 19, nonsense ordinary mind is the way. The monk Joshu asked Nansen, what is the way? Ordinary mind is the way, Nansen replied. Shall I seek for it? Joshu asked. If you try for it, you'll become separated from it, said Nansen. How can I know the way unless I try for it? Persisted Joshu. And then Nansen said, the way is not a matter of knowing or not knowing. Knowing is delusion. Not knowing is confusion. When you really reach the way beyond doubt, you'll find it as vast and boundless as outer space. As vast and boundless as outer space. How can it be talked about on the level of right and wrong? And with these words, Joshu came to a sudden realization. As much as I love this koan, I love the verse the most. When I was at the monastery, I used to keep this verse on my desk. I had very carefully written it out on a little piece of rice paper card with a calligraphy brush. And I had it, there wasn't really anything much on my desk, just this one little verse. And it goes like this. The spring flowers, the autumn moon, summer breezes, winter snow. If useless things do not clutter your mind, these are the best days of your life. The spring flowers, the autumn moon, summer breezes, winter snow. If useless things do not clutter your mind, these are the best days of your life. So this is the essence of concentrated mind. If useless things do not clutter your mind, these are the best days of your life. So though I have notes, I have so much to say from the inside out. So I just really want to allow that to happen. Single-pointed concentration or single-pointed absorption comes only with work, only with effort. So a lot of us, when we start practicing, we want to just sit on the cushion, right? And, okay, am I there yet? And we lose sight of the fact that going somewhere isn't the point. It's really fully being absorbed in this present moment. And right concentration is something that I think a lot of us in practice really want to skip. And we absolutely cannot. It's so crucial for our practice understanding. It's really what grounds us and what allows us to practice. And right concentration really gives us what we need to be able to do this practice. So we cannot skip over it. In my tradition, which is a koan tradition, the first koan that we practice with is the breathing koan, the susokkan, the way of breathing. And I think sometimes people get the idea that, that. But then what's next? I want to do I want to do that other stuff. And without the breathing koan, we absolutely cannot do other aspects of practice. We must develop concentration. We must. The breathing koan being focusing on the breath from our hara. The way that my teacher teaches it is we count the breaths, starting at 1, continuing on to 10, and starting again. However, we count to 1, and when our mind wanders, or when our concentration goes elsewhere, we start again at 1, coming back to the breath. And when we're able to count to 10 without our mind going elsewhere, then we can bring that koan to the teacher and present it and allow them to see if we've truly found the ability of right concentration. And only then do we go to the next step of practice. But the thing is, right concentration or the breathing koan is a lifetime practice. It's so crucial that with this foundation, everything is here. Right concentration or samadhi is about an evenness. It's about letting go of the highs and the lows, not being too excited, not being too dull, but really finding the evenness in our practice. The ordinary mind, as I started off saying. The ordinary mind. When we can truly focus and concentrate with single-pointed absorption, we can be present to everything in a way that's real and meaningful and fulfilling, satisfying, deeply satisfying. I want to talk about 2 kinds of right concentration. Many of us have experienced a single-pointed absorption through other ways, including, some of us through music or some of us through art. Maybe a focus on what we're doing when we're really present with whatever we love in our work, when we're writing, with our children, when we're cooking. And this single-pointed concentration is called positive samadhi, or Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh calls it selective samadhi. And I think, I don't want to assume, but I'm going to guess that we've all experienced this sometimes. And it's a really good clue for us. It's a total involvement with what we're doing, complete absorption. The thing about positive samadhi or selective samadhi in this way is that it's an involuntary state. It comes up on us and we really appreciate it maybe, and maybe don't even notice it until we look back on it. But it's an involuntary state. The other kind of samadhi is the absolute samadhi. Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh calls this active samadhi. And this is the samadhi that we develop through our practice, the concentration, total involvement in an integration where there's no self or other, no object, no activity, fully absorbed in this present moment. Dogen Zenji called it dropping off body and mind. And when we understand or when we experience absolute samadhi, we can bring that into our everyday life as well. So it's possible to enter positive samadhi, the one I initially said, through absolute samadhi. And it's possible to do this on purpose or at will rather than accidentally. This is very crucial to understand. When our mind is completely focused with intention, with the 4 foundations of mindfulness at the base, remember I talked about that? With an understanding of how we're going to speak to others, how we're going to be in the world, how we're going to live our lives. When we bring this absolute samadhi, where there's no object, no activity, to our everyday life on purpose, then this is a different type of positive samadhi than the sort of involuntary state. So we can bring every aspect of our lives on the cushion into every aspect of our life. When we do this, then we stop having a separation between what we think we're doing during Zazen and what we think we're doing in our daily lives, or what we think we're doing when we're focused and what we think we're doing when we're not focused, or an idea of how we want our practice to be versus how it actually is. And all of this requires concentration. Yangtze Rinpoche says that without single-pointed concentration as a foundation, we'll be unable to bring forth the complete realizations of renunciation, of bodhicitta, and emptiness. It's the foundation. And I wanted to speak a little bit today about the ways we can pull ourselves out of this essential foundation. So, like I said, I think we've all experienced meditative absorption or single-pointed concentration in some ways. And in our practice, we can get into this way of practicing where we experience this single-pointed concentration. And, the thing that people sometimes gloss over is that this is a blissful state. And it's blissful because we're fully present. And being fully present, really letting go of everything, is such a relief. Such a relief. We feel such a deep sense of relief and ease that it feels blissful. So then when we experience that, we can feel like it's something special or outside of ourselves, and then start to crave it or want it. And then when we do that, we get into this pattern of thinking that it's a fix. And I can't say strongly enough here that there simply are no fixes. There's only path. When we get into the idea that samadhi is this magical pill that we can take, maybe we think that because it feels good, or maybe we think that because when we are really completely absorbed in the present moment, then everything that went into this development of concentration is also present. And so we start to think that that's something outside of this present moment that we need to get. This special cupcake that if we could just take a bite, all of our problems would be solved. What have I just done? I've put this present moment over here and then taken myself out of what is. So this is the flip side of the koan. If we seek for it, it's beyond our grasp. If we try for it, we become separated from it. It's not a matter of knowing or not knowing, but when we've reached the true way, when we've reached the true way beyond doubt, we'll find it as vast and boundless as outer space. There was a time when I was first practicing where I myself experienced the oneness of practice, and such a deep relief. And I guess I'll take a sidestep here and say it's a deep relief to simply be who we are. We spend so much time creating an idea of who we think we should be and how we think the world should be, that when we finally let go of that and just let ourselves be who we are, let our true Buddha nature shine from the inside out, let the world be the beautiful, spacious, wonderful world that it is. It's such a relief. So when I first experienced this, I felt that relief and that bliss that goes with that relief of just truth. And I also felt a sense of power. This is amazing. I must be special. So in that sense of power, I didn't have a lot of, I had a lot of grounding in Zazen concentration, but I didn't have a lot of width to my path at the time. And one thing I wasn't very familiar with were the principles of right speech. And I was speaking with a friend, and this was a friend who she really loved to be a little provocative. And she could kind of get away with it. She was so over the top that it was just funny, but sometimes it wasn't really funny. It got into a little mean. And so on this occasion, this wasn't something I'd ever had access to before. The ability to speak in a way that people would listen to me and laugh. And so I was joining in, and I was like, whoa, this is really fun, you know? And we were talking about people and kind of pushing the edge. And, you know, my friend, people knew that about her character. And I think, you know, they also knew her heart, but they weren't used to hearing me talk like that. And so a different person who was there, she got really upset. And she was like, who are you? Why are you talking like this? If this is what Buddhism is doing for you, I want no part of this. I'm leaving. I'm leaving this room. I'm getting out of it. She got up and she walked out. And I was like, whoa, what did I do? It was such a wake up that this path isn't about that magic cupcake. This path is everything that we do, how we act, what comes out of our mouth, how we treat each other. When we really deeply understand that you are not separate from me. And fortunately, our life offers us endless, endless, endless opportunities to relearn this. Every single day, we get to do the hard work of this practice. Every single day, led by what makes us Buddhist. Refuge in the three treasures, refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, and doing this for the benefit of all beings. Without that intention, it's just too hard. Some years ago, a teacher shared with me a story, and I heard the story secondhand, so I can't vouch for its veracity. And nevertheless, I'll share it with you because it was meaningful to me. He said that he heard somebody ask His Holiness the Dalai Lama, "What is your practice like?" And he said His Holiness just really thought about that for a few minutes, and then he finally said, "Do you know that image of the ascetic Buddha? It's an image of Shakyamuni Buddha when he's practicing before he's enlightened, where he's practicing with ascetics. And in the image, we can see how thin he was. So it's said that he became so thin that you could see his spine from the front of his body. You can imagine. So you see all of his ribs, and his stomach is really caved in, and he's really gaunt in his face. And he said, "That's my practice." It resonated with me so strongly and inspired me so much. Practice is hard, and it's so worth it. It's so worth it when we can learn to speak to another human being in a way that uplifts them and really puts us in sync with them. Because we see them as this Buddha meeting this Buddha. When we really start to realize that and to live our lives in this way, to have jobs that uplift this and treat each other this way and support the multiplicity of the community in all of our weirdnesses and beauties, then we really start to feel this sense of deep satisfaction. And this is where meditative concentration starts to pervade our whole lives, informed by the whole path. So as I started off saying, I can't stress the importance of right concentration strongly enough. Really focus as we're sitting. When your mind starts to get really sleepy and wandering off, remind yourself why you're doing this. Bring it back with intention. It's worth it. The spring flowers, the autumn moon, winter snows, autumn leaves. If useless things do not clutter your mind, these are the best days of your life. Thank you.